You know that feeling, right? That slow, creeping dread when you get assigned a group project. Well, today we're going to get into exactly why that feeling is so real and why it's so incredibly frustrating. So let's just be honest. Why do we hate group projects so much? Is it that moment you realize you could do the whole thing faster and probably better all by yourself? Turns out there's a really good reason for that feeling. And get this, it's not because you're a control freak. You're not bad at teamwork. It's not some kind of personality flaw. Nope. It's actually about your brain's fundamental operating system and how it completely clashes with the whole idea of group work. Let's break it down. Okay, so first we have to understand what we're up against. Let's call it the group project problem. Here's the core of it. For a lot of us, our brains are just wired for independent thinking. They're built to create a super clear plan, hold that entire plan in your head, and then just execute. It's not really designed for the slow, messy back and forth of trying to get everyone on the same page. And this setup leads to a huge fundamental conflict. It's basically your brain versus the group. This chart just lays it all out perfectly. On one side, you've got your brain. It wants a clear plan, it wants to move fast, and it wants the best, cleanest solution possible. But then, there's the group's reality. Instead of a clear plan, you get status talk, people just talking to sound important. Instead of fast execution, you get constant rechecks and second guessing. And instead of the best solution, you get a safe, kind of average result that everybody just sort of agrees to. These things are what we can call flow breakers. And they're why everything feels so inefficient. You've got that status talk we mentioned. Then there are vague roles, so nobody really knows who's responsible for what. The big one is when the group starts optimizing for harmony over accuracy. Basically, keeping everyone happy is more important than being right. And that leads to the last one, treating weak ideas as if they're perfectly fine just so you don't have to have an awkward conversation. Sound familiar? Yeah, I thought so. So, why does this drive some of us completely crazy while others seem okay with it? Well, it all comes down to what we can call your internal standard. Now, there's a fancy psychological term for this, a high internal locus of evaluation. I know, it's a mouthful, but the idea is actually super simple. It just means you trust your own judgment to know what good looks like. You don't need a committee or a group vote to tell you if something is high quality. You've got your own built-in quality control. And here's the kicker. Because you have this really strong internal compass, you spot the problems instantly. While everyone else is nodding along, your brain is already lighting up, flagging the flaw in the logic or the sloppy part of the plan. You see the quality gap a mile away. This is where things get tricky. Because if you have that high internal standard, and you're not someone who just goes along with the crowd, what we'd call low conformity, you literally can't pretend. You can't just nod and say, yeah, great idea, when you know it's not. And that right there is guaranteed to create some friction. All of that friction, all of that misalignment, it leads to one final, totally exhausting result. And that is paying the patience tax. So let's trace how this happens. It's a chain reaction. First, your internal standards spot a quality gap. Second, your low conformity means you just can't pretend it's not there. Third, that creates social misalignment. You're now out of sync with the group. And what's the end result? You're not solving the actual problem anymore. You're stuck managing everyone else's errors. Which leads to this absolutely perfect quote that sums it all up. The project turns into patience tax. It's not a tax you pay with money, oh no. You pay it with your focus, your mental energy, and every last ounce of your patience. This is what that tax really is. All of your best brain power isn't going towards solving the problem in a creative way. It's being burned on managing coordination mistakes, clarifying things that should be obvious, and fixing work that wasn't done right the first time. You've stopped being a contributor, and you've become a manager of mediocrity. And that leaves us with a really important question to ask yourself next time you're in a group. What's the real goal here? Is it just collaboration for the sake of collaboration, or is it to get the best possible result? Because, as we've just seen, sometimes those two things are fighting against each other.